Hey, I'm Dave Knight with the Dave Knight Real Estate Team, and we love being a real estate resource for people. Today's question comes from clients that receive a bill in the mail after they've bought or after they've sold. So I don't know about you, but when I get a check in the mail, I'm happy. If it's a refund for taxes, that's great. If maybe somebody's sending me a birthday card with money, I love receiving that. I'm not a big fan of receiving bills in the mail. Now, there's a couple types of bills. There's a plumber bill that I receive, and I did work on my house, and I knew that that was coming, and I expected that, and that's okay. It's a lot worse when it's a bill that you weren't anticipating, you weren't expecting, and you're like, why do I owe this? Those are harder to receive, and those can happen in the sale and the purchase of real estate. So let me explain it on the purchase side first. So it's called a supplemental property tax bill. What the heck is that? Why do I have to pay it? Well, here's what happens. It's usually the largest amount when the previous owner had owned the house a long time, because what their property tax basis was a lot lower. So they may have bought the house for $100,000, and that determined their property taxes. The gap between the day that you buy it and when they had prepaid property taxes or made their property tax payment for the time period that was good for, there's a gap there where technically it should be a higher rate because you bought it for $1 million. And so you're going to get a supplemental bill in the mail in the future, and it could be a year down the road, it could be 2 years down the road, to basically supplement for that period of time. So when you write an offer, it talks about supplemental property taxes, saying you may get that bill. When you buy a house, there is what's called a supplemental tax estimator that you can use on the assessor's website that will help you determine, am I going to get a surprise bill in the mail for supplemental property taxes? So that's on the buy side. On the selling side, it happens a lot less. And the only times that I've seen it happen on the selling side are when somebody has passed away. Maybe, let's say, dad had passed away years ago, mom just passed away, and at that point the property is in a trust and it's going to the beneficiaries. So you could potentially get what's called an unsecured property tax bill in the future if for the gap between the date of death and when you make the sale. Because at the date of death, so you may say, hey Dave, the property's in a trust, it didn't change ownership. Yes, but at that point of death, the beneficiary is technically the trustee is the new owner. There's beneficiaries. You will very likely get assessed at a new rate at that date of death, and then have a supplemental tax bill between that period. And if you wait 6 months to sell it, or a year to sell it, or just a couple months. So it's important to be aware of that and to factor that in. And that's usually why estate planning attorneys, CPAs, will say to have a reserve account for those surprises as the estate is wrapped up for the next several years. Now, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an estate planning attorney. I work with CPAs and estate planning attorneys, so I can give you guidance, but at the end of the day, these are questions that you always want to make certain when you're selling a property. Talk to your CPA, see if, hey, am I going to get an unsecured supplemental property tax bill? What's the likelihood of that? And then also with your estate planning attorney to make sure that you've got the reserves in an account to pay that should you get surprised one day with an unwanted bill. So hopefully this helps prepare you for the potential of that in the future. Make a great day. We'll see you on the next video.